Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your coming for today's presentation. In the following time, I would like to share my ideas about the Median project. The topic that I interested in the power of the word from the influencers. It's the impact of their statements, positive or negative. My presentation will be divided into 4 parts. The first part is the project background, which shows the reasons why I was interested in this topic and the reasonable and research question. Next, I would like to explain the literature review, method, and analysis. The third part is my plan to shoot a documentary. And finally, the plan to achieve this accomplishment will be shown at the timetable. So let's begin with the project background. Along with the network population, the new media era comes. Different from traditional newspaper, the information spreads faster due to different media technology and transmission measures. The influence with a large number of followers, they are committed to current affairs leaders to huge impacts. Therefore, for text of new media era, the first one is convenience. The speech convocation of new media breaks the restrictions of time, space, and region. As long as there is a network, people can express themselves freely in the speech of new media. They can not only disseminate the latest information in the first time, but also receive the latest information anytime and anywhere. The second one is anonymity. Internet space is a kind of virtual public space. The biggest difference between online space and real space is that you can use a false name online registration. Registration instead of real identity to refer to yourself. The false identity allows Netizens to technologically put aside the relevant restrictions of the flaws to speak freely and fairly, which directly leads to the fact that online speech can be regardless of its authenticity and whether it will violate the regulation of others' equity. The third one is interactivity. Traditional mass media such as television, radio, and newspaper all disseminated information in a one way, which is relatively simple and the public's participation is low. Why the communication mode of new network media is two-way. Not only can network media disseminate information to the public, but also each user can participate in the discussion of hot social issues and express their own opinions. The freedom of speech is reflected in the participation of netizens. And the fourth one is emotional tendency. With the freedom of speech in the new media environment, the threshold of access to cyberspace has been greatly lowered. Although the number of netizens has been expanded, the quality of netizens has also been eroded. Many people express their opinions on the internet with emotional tendency and lack rational thinking. As a result, information transmission in the era of new media tends to be perceptual, and both information spreaders and receive lack due thinking. During the transmission of information in the new media era, the influence with a large number of followers are the important links. They use their influence to spread the information fast, but it could be a two-edged sword. For example, during the COVID lockdown in China, many influencers use public impact to spread health information, but at the same time, many unverified rumors are also forwarded and spread by this influence, resulting in a series of negative impacts. After rumor was officially denied, many influencers only delete their post of rumor, while the rumor was widely spread. Few people paid attention to the information that denied the rumor. Influencers may have positive effects such as spreading useful information to a large audience and increase their followers. In contrast, if they spread rumors that have an impact on the person's life, it will have a negative impact. Based on this situation, I would like to study the power of influencer word on social current affairs in the new media era. Related theories adopting a participatory model. The social sciences have long promoted the study of social groups. The participatory documentary can stress the actual lived encounter between filmmaker and subject in the space. The following three research questions were: what effect does the influences discourse have on current events in society? What influencers have to say about their freedom of expression? How does the speech disseminated by the influences affect the person's life? This part of the content is dominated by a literature review, which is a critical evaluation of the literature related to a particular topic or topic. It aims to be systematic, comprehensive, and repeatable. The goal is to identify, evaluate, and synthesize existing evidence that has been presented by other researchers with as little bias as possible. The first thing should be to understand the project background. This should be achieved by literature review. Based on literature review from previous papers, I expect to conclude the fact influence the network consensus in the new media area, and the positive and negative effects will be summarized. And I also want to find out the different stage to spread information, especially for rumors in the new media era. You can get the information that I list below. According to my research question and purpose, I have initially clarified the reviewed points of the above literature reviews. About the method, I would like to conduct a case study. I'm trying to find some difficult cases about that the influences spread the unconfirmed messages, and it has reversed in the end. According to this case, I wanted to figure out why this information was spread before the confirmation, and how did that spread through the power of influences. Also, the impacts before and after the reveals of truth will be discussed. Finally, I also preferred to find out what actions did the influence take after the truth was uncovered, or what responsibility they have taken for spreading the rumor. Next, I will post a questionnaire online to collect the attitudes toward the power of words through influencers. The first thought I would like to know about that topic is that how they feel about the hard words power from influences. Do they think it is a good thing or bad thing? Also, I would like to ask they do they think the unconfirmed message should be spread. Next, an open question will be set up to know that do they have any experience or memory about the live influence by the rumors spreading. And finally, I wanted to collect some suggestions about how to avoid negative impacts from influencers. So, in order to produce this outcome successfully, I set up some plans and targets to collect enough information. The important thing is the interview. I will try to contact and invite some influencers to have a short interview with them. I would like to ask some questions to understand their opinions. For example, have they spread any information without confirmation and why? Have they meted the situation that the truth was totally different in the end, and how they feel at that time? What responsibility they think they have as an influences with a number of fans? The documentary program is described in detail here. Recording essays, all interviews, both video and audio, will be broadcast in my documentary films with the consent of the person concerned, while respecting each participant's right to know and right to be portrayed. There are currently 3 confirmed Chinese bloggers with hundreds of thousands of followers in their respective fields. A Little Red Book is a popular social media app in China, similar to Instagram, and of course, they are bloggers and my friends, and we can always network to interview some questions and later invite some UK-based bloggers from YouTube and Instagram to facilitate interviews. This picture shows my timetable. Based on this background, I want to do the research to illustrate the power of the word from the influences. especially for the information without confirmation. My outcomes about this topic will be presented as a documentary because I think a documentary is a more clear and vivid way to describe the result from this project. So I would like to separate my documentary to 4 parts. It will cover the background introduction in the very beginning of the documentary, such as the current circumstances of the message transmission via internet. Then it will show some real case about the effect through the words from the influences. The third part will be the attitudes of average people, like netizens, toward these impacts. And finally, is the influences' own attitudes. Based on above work, a short documentary within 15 minutes will be produced to explain my topic. Here is a list of all references. And that's all about my presentation. Thank you.